Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Evelyn Knight, and I am the CEO of Childcare Business Professionals, and I am the owner of a childcare center. Just like most of you, I've been a director or an owner. I've done pretty much everything. I've even been the cook in my center. So if you're new, I just wanted to welcome you and hope that you've seen some of my other resources in the group. Most of you are probably here looking for the COVID resources I have. Those are under the COVID's unit tab. If you are also, I have a whole bunch of things. I use those units just to organize. So go through there and check out all the different stuff I have. I try to keep my files and different things organized under the units. If you need just some motivation, go through some of those COVID videos. They're really just designed to help keep you uplifted and focused on the positive. So as you jump in, just say hello, and if you're replaying, give me a hashtag replay so I know that you were here. And also feel free to comment with questions. I do go through the videos even a couple days after. I try to keep up with my notifications and answer questions that you guys may have. So feel free to send me your guys' questions. I don't mind at all. I really don't mind interacting at all. And you know what? I am going to turn down that ringer for you guys. I heard that those come out pretty loud through the video. So sorry, I forgot to do that first. But welcome. It's Friday. We made it. I know if you're closed and you're at home, Friday may not seem very different right now. But I was talking to a teacher, my son's teacher actually, and she was telling me that everything just kind of blends right now. She can't tell the weekdays from the weekend, but if you're still open, then we are thrilled that it's Friday, right? For those of us who are still open. So, funny story. I went to do this live and I went on my personal page by accident instead of my business page. So, get to do this again and give you guys the information because you guys are the ones who need it. My personal page does not need it. So, it's Friday. What can I say? So I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit today about planning and getting ready to come back and just really having a plan in place so that when we open our centers back up, we are ready and it flows as smoothly as possible. I mean, of course, there's going to be unforeseen things that happen, right? But if we start planning now, it should go smoothly as possible. And hopefully, I'm hoping we see the country open up soon. And it's a double-edged sword, right? Whatever we do, you know, and one of the things I like to say to you guys right now is just give yourself grace in everything. There is no right or wrong decision right now. This is new to all of us, right? So just keep that in your mind when you're going through this and you're really stressing out about what do I do? Do I open? Do I stay closed? There is no right or wrong decision. They are just decisions. So don't stress out too much. Don't let yourself get too anxious about it. And just make the decision and promise yourself you're not going to beat yourself up for making the decision. Okay. I know I've said that before. It's not the first time you guys have heard this, but it's worth repeating. Just make the decisions you need to make and just let it go. You know, a year from now, you guys write yourself that letter if you haven't written it yet. Write yourself the letter promising yourself that you're not going to beat yourself up in retrospect for the decisions that you've made. Okay, just remember that the person we are today and the things that we regret it because we have all the information. When we make decisions, we don't know all the scenarios. We don't have all the information, right? So it's really easy for us to judge ourselves in the future. Right? So the decisions you may take, it's so easy for you to judge them because you have all the facts now. You didn't have all the facts then. So just when you're going into making these decisions right now, remember that. We don't have all the facts today. We will have them a year from now, right? So just do the best you can. Release yourself from that stress that is caused when you put so much pressure on yourself for making these decisions. Just give yourself a break. You know, right now, I think things are hard enough as it is, and we have some really tough decisions to make. So that being said, I've been just talking to different owners all over the country, literally all over the country, about their action plans and how are we going to open our centers back up to full capacity. I'm open, but my center is running at about 40% what we normally have, right? Or we're down 60% of our children. So we have to even come up with a plan on how are we going to come back to that 100% mark. And there's a couple things I've been putting in place and just bouncing ideas off of other owners throughout the entire country. So this is a great perspective. I've talked to owners in California, Texas, New Jersey, New York, Minnesota, so all over the place. I've talked to different owners. And, I'm in Nevada. So just how are we all going to deal with this? The first thing I think we all need to do is to contact our families. I really, really hope that you've been staying in contact with your families through all of this so that this is a pretty easy transition in. If you've been watching my videos throughout this entire ordeal, I've been telling you guys, stay in contact, right? Now is the time that you can really build on that really loyal customer base, right? So I'm hoping you guys have been contacting your customers throughout all of this, and this isn't new to you. But if it is, just reach out to them and just, write up an email like, I am so excited that we're going to be coming back. We just would like to know, what date are you planning on returning? That is how I would word it. I wouldn't word it like, when or do you plan on returning? I would say, when do you plan on returning? Okay. And phone calls are the best thing you could do. I would recommend personally calling every family that you have. I have 190 families enrolled, and I do have my team on calling, right? But emails are fine if that's what you need to do. So you just want that personal contact. If you can't get a hold of them by phone, email, text is probably the second best way. I know I was talking to one of my teachers yesterday, and she was telling me not all of the parents really respond to the emails. So, so maybe text messaging might be better. But the personal touch of a phone call is the best way to go by far. So that's your first action plan. Call them and ask them, when do you plan on returning? Okay. Second thing you want to do is start creating rosters. Start figuring out exactly how is your attendance going to look, right? So that you know how many teachers do you need to bring back, which classrooms need the teachers back, when do you need to start trickling them in. So if you have a roster with the dates the children are coming back, you should have a really pretty good idea in order to run Cratio. You guys, I'm at my center, so if you hear the children playing, that's what it's at. So you should have a really good idea, right, of what it's going to look like if you create rosters by dates, right? So that's my number one first thing I would do. That way you can start helping your teachers know when you expect them back. I've seen a lot of questions from you guys about the teachers that are on unemployment, and a lot of you are afraid that a lot of them won't want to come back. So for that purpose, I would be ready to draft a letter that does let them know that their job is available again on a specific date, okay? If they choose not to come back, make sure that you send that letter to unemployment, because they can no longer claim unemployment if their job is available and they choose not to come back. Okay, so they have the opportunity to work, they're choosing not to. So that's just something you want to keep in mind. I would definitely, I think another thing I've been seeing a lot of is, how do we decide which teachers come back first? For me personally, I'm going to base it on the classroom necessity. One of the things I will always teach you guys is you've got to put the needs of your center first, right? So look at, what does your center need the most? So right now, a lot of kids may not be going back to school. So your older children may need a lot more than your younger, right? So you want to bring the children back or the teachers back that would be caring for those children, okay? If I have an infant teacher that I'm bringing back who's never worked with my before and after school program, how effective are they going to be? Is that really what's best for the children in our care? Is that what's best for my center? So that's how I'm going to be making that decision. Then I'll be looking at seniority. Well, I'm also looking at risk. My teachers that do have a specific risk factor, I probably will give them the option first if they are ready to come back or not. So if they do have some kind of underlying condition, because just because our governors decide to open us back up doesn't necessarily mean that this threat is gone, right? Is it diminished? Yeah, but is it gone? I don't know. I mean, we really don't know. If you guys haven't listened to my podcast episode, be sure to listen to it. It is absolutely wonderful. I interview an expert on pandemics and being prepared. His name is Andrew Rozak, and it's a wonderful episode. So you guys listen to that so you can get an idea of kind of what's in store for the country. But I think we just need to be just mindful of that. So just be ready. The other thing I would really recommend is looking at what hours do the parents need. Are they going back to work at a different set of hours, right? So just kind of be mindful of what kind of hours, and when you're planning these rosters, write the hours. You might still be able to come back with different operating hours. You may not need your entire normal operating hours, right? So you still want to save the money where you can. You really want to focus on that too. So that's another thing that I would really look at is when they're coming back, what hours are they going to need? The other thing when it comes to the parents, I would really urge you to think about. None of us really know what's going to happen in this economy right now. Nobody really knows what their job security looks like right now. So a lot of parents may think they're going back to a job, and as the time gets closer, they may not have a job to go back to. Think about how much money all these businesses are losing. I mean, you guys have a pretty good idea of how much money your center's lost, right? So think about these manufacturing businesses and what kind of business are your clients in? Think about that. If they're working at, in like some kind of manufacturing plant that has been losing a lot of money, then that plant might need to do some permanent layoffs, or they might just need to let a lot of people go. So just be prepared for that. Not all jobs, just because our governors flipped that switch, it doesn't mean all of our parents are going to have jobs after this. So think about that as you're bringing your staff back. You may not be ready to bring them back full bore. Okay, so just really consider that. If you're one of the lucky ones who got the PPP loan, then that's another thing to really just consider. I mean, I just, how do you want to deal with that? I would just really urge you to consider, if you want to figure out a way to bring everybody back and, I don't know, maybe give them each a furlough day a week, something, right? So that's something you guys can think about too. Just more things to consider. There's so much right now, right? So the other thing I would really look at is safety measures. What kind of safety measures are you going to take when the children do come back? If for those of you who have been with me for a while, you know that I've uploaded a strategic plan for you guys. It's a template so that you can create your own strategic plan. That same podcast episode I was just talking about, Andrew actually gives us another template that's way more detailed than the one I created. And the link is in my podcast notes for that specific episode. You can go to his website, get the link that he's prepared, but it's literally a 27-page plan of recommendations that we should have in place within our centers. So look at that, decide what you're going to adopt, what are you going to put in place, and prepare your staff and your parents. A preparation could be as easy as creating a video just like this. You can, if you have a page for your employees, you can create a video, put it on there, let them know exactly what they're going to be expected to do, what is it going to look like. You can do to an owner. Sorry guys, I'm having internet issues apparently. I talked to an owner who is actually going as far as making their parents bring a second pair of shoes that they're going to be making them change into when they get to school. Some of them are making them change their clothes. I'm personally getting a bunch of men's shirts for my staff, and I am going to have them change the shirts, and protect the clothing that they're personally wearing. So just think about different safety measures you want to put into place to keep your staff and your children safe. I would absolutely recommend that so that you're not opening yourself up to any lawsuits. So something that's pretty important. Also, like the temperature check. Are you going to continue to check temperatures? What are you going to do? How are you going to take those safety measures? Because just because our governors open our states back up, possibly, which I don't know if they will, but if they do, doesn't mean that the threat is gone. It's diminished, yes. It's not as bad, but it doesn't mean that the threat is gone. So we do want to make sure that we are absolutely safe in this time, right? The other thing to think about is hopefully during this time you've been really analyzing your business and you are recognizing the need for new policies. So that's just something I think that has really come out for a lot of you. As you guys know, I've been telling, if you've watched my other videos, you know that my contracts are pretty solid and that my parents have to pay regardless. I didn't want to put any kind of strain on parents, so I did create a system where they wouldn't have to pay 100%. I didn't, and I also did exclude some of the parents, like if they lost their job, I wasn't expecting them to pay us. But I do have that form where they had to apply for that. I just didn't let everybody do it. I need to keep it fair. It's not fair that, I'm holding one person to a contract and somebody else I'm not. So those are just the kind of thing that, is that something that you want to make your permanent policy? That is actually something I've put in my policies for a long time. The application that I uploaded for you guys, I had an application for a long time. I just redesigned that one for this purpose. So it's a policy I've put into place. And if you guys have been watching me for a while, you know that a lot of the struggles that you're having, I really didn't have to deal with because I have really solid policies. So right now is the time to look at how do you need to change your messaging to your parents? How do you need to change your policies? What kind of mindset shifts do you need to make in order to ensure that your center doesn't go through this again? And again, I'm going to say that just because, we've gone through this pandemic as a nation, as the world, doesn't mean we're not all going to face another emergency disaster, right? There's disasters that happen all the time, you guys. How many times do we hear on the news a tornado, a hurricane, an earthquake, a tidal wave, something hits all over the world, all the time, all over just this country, right? The only difference between this is that we're all in it at the same time. But a lot of you out there, this isn't going to be the last emergency you've had. I've told you guys, if you've watched my other videos, when I started my business, there was a huge flood in my city that almost took me out my first month in operation. The entire city flooded and we lost 20% of my city's population. So there's always something, right? Always something. This isn't the first emergency that we've seen. It's not going to be the last. So what kind of policies do you have to put in place? And what I really encourage you guys to do is don't just think in terms of this pandemic. What I'm seeing a lot of in different Facebook groups is that you guys are saying things like, oh, I'm going to have a pandemic clause. I'm going to have a pandemic clause. You guys need more than that. We don't need just a pandemic clause. We need a clause that is protecting our business from emergencies, period, from any kind of disaster, not just a pandemic. All disaster, right? So just really think of the different pandemics, or not pandemics, but different emergencies that could be happening out there, the different, catastrophic type of events that we can plan for. That's what I really want you to focus on. Maybe now is a good time to hire a lawyer to help you come up with some policies that really just are all encompassing when it comes to disaster situations. Okay. Maybe that's something that I'm working on with my members. That is something we are talking about a lot. And as we're developing our policies, procedures, and just all of that, I'm really getting them focused on just being future minded, right? We've already talked about what if this happens again in the fall? How are we going to deal with it? We've already, we're starting to plan, we're getting ready. That's just something that my members and I are working on together, is just making sure that we're solid and we're ready, so that by the time we are done with this, we will come back stronger. I strongly believe that we can come back stronger and better from this. Everything really comes down to how we see it. It comes down to our mindset. How you choose to think about this is really going to affect how you come out of it. I'm looking at this as opportunity. There are days I'm absolutely exhausted by the time I get home. I'm not going to tell you guys that I'm not. It is exhausting. But at the same time, I know that a year from now, I can be a better leader from this. I know I can have a stronger business because of this. I know that if I take what I'm learning right now and I take what's happening around me right now, I can really transform it to make me someone who is better, right? I've done a presentation, and you guys, I'm sorry, I've done so many right now. I've done so many webinars for different people, and I've done so many videos for you guys that I can't remember where I said it. But I did say in one of them that we have a choice to make right now. We have the opportunity to transform who we are right now. We need to choose, who do we want to be on the other side of this? Who do we want to be when all of this is over? We really have a wonderful, amazing opportunity to transform into the leaders we want to be. We can transform our businesses. We can really just decide right now. So who do you want to be when all of this is over, right? So I really want you to think about that. And, you know, if you haven't written that letter to yourself, write the letter to yourself. And thanking yourself for doing the things that you need to do, that you know you're going to do, so that you will get out of this stronger, so that your business will be stronger and you as a person will be stronger. It's a huge, important exercise. Sit down, give yourself, you know, half an hour at least to just write yourself a thank you letter. I know I'm going to take these actions. Thank you for, you know, sticking to my policies and making sure that the family's paid at least 20% of their, you know, thank you for closing when I needed to keep my family safe. Thank you for staying open so that my center would survive. You know, to write yourself that thank you letter, thanking yourself for the specific actions that you're going to need to take, right, in order to be better off in the long run. So if any of you guys have any questions, pop them into the chat there. If you're watching later, feel free to leave me your questions. I do try and keep up with them. I've been getting a lot in my feed right now. I got to kind of clean up Facebook right now, but I really do try to keep up with it. So let me know. Feel free to, you know, pop me any questions. And you guys, I'm not seeing anything, so I'm sorry. For some reason, sometimes when I do these lives, I can't see the feed coming through. So if you guys are trying to say anything, I just can't see it. But if you're watching the replay, be sure to, don't be afraid to ask questions. I do try to go back in and check them all out. I have some that I've done 2 weeks ago that I still try and go through and make sure I'm answering all of your questions and messages. I might be slow sometimes to get to your messages, but I do try to make sure I get to all of them. So that's what I have for you guys today. I am working still on getting the advocacy, the Children's Advocacy Alliance. They are going to be doing a presentation to help us advocate for our programs. And if you guys saw the short video that I posted, please share that. We want to get that spread all over the place. The Children's Advocacy Alliance is going to be using that to send to Congress, the Senate. They're going to be just trying to send a message all over using that. So feel free to share it. I've got releases from all the children in there. All of their parents have signed off on it. So feel more than free to use that to help your centers advocate. And if you guys create videos like that, share it to my page. I'd be more than happy to share them for you guys. Just make sure you get releases from the parents. If you create a video like that, make sure you get a media release signed from your parents. That it's got to be a specific media release. Let them know that it will be shared on social media. And if you guys share that to me, I am going to be asking you. So they are really nice. So if we can get Facebook flooded with those, that would be great. Just make sure that you don't open yourself up to anything. So I'm going to sign off for today, you guys. And I hope everybody has a great, relaxing weekend. I hope you take care of yourself and start that plan so that you're ready to come back and that you're ready to open up your center and you've got all those things in place that we need to do. And by the way, I've been creating a checklist, so I will upload that for you guys too. So have a great weekend.